subscribe to me probably came across from my Instagram. And at the moment, I don't have access to that Instagram account. Got um, it got banned, not for political reasons this time, but for I just had a private Facebook account that wasn't even used, and they flagged that as maybe not being a real person, and that was linked to the Instagram. So I've put in an appeal, given them ID and selfies to prove I am a real person, but so far the appeal is just sitting there, and I don't think anyone's even looked at it, and I don't know if anyone will. But this is a really good chance to move across and start spending more time on YouTube. So if you're seeing this, hello again, and feel free to share this to anyone else who might be interested. I'd really like to build subscribers over here. And yeah, just jumping on here, as I thought, no one is really on. Don't have a huge subscriber base at the moment on here. And it's probably like early afternoon in the US as well. So maybe not the best timing. But yeah, basically what I was thinking to do if no one jumped on, maybe I can just pull a card for the day and we can do that. And yeah, hopefully over time I can build this up and get some people on live and pull cards for people, or um, maybe I've definitely got some videos that I want to upload, especially about the history of tarot, just stuff about the tarot deck in general. But let's pull a card for the day. Yeah, let's go with this. Okay, so we have the Two of Swords coming up. And so the Two of Swords is an interesting card. Um, it's a card I haven't really thought of in a while for some reason. But the Two of Swords, Swords is the air element. And so the air element relates to the mental realm and communication. So everything to do with thoughts, ideas, um, thinking. So that's why we get a lot of swords cards throughout the suit that are related to like things like stress and anxiety. Like if you think of like the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords, there's a lot of cards that are quite challenging. So they relate to thinking, thought patterns, the mental realm, and the Two of Swords. Uh, Twos all relate to duality, choices, balance. And so the way I often take the Two of Swords at a really surface level is this sense of choice, being on the fence about something. Oh, there's a couple of people on here. Okay, cool. I don't know how to see who's on here. I don't know if you guys can comment. Ah, okay. Hey, Solomon Bautista and Coopers. Okay, cool. Hi guys, just jumping on here for the first time really. I don't know if you guys used to follow me on Instagram, but I was just saying the Instagram's down at the moment, so gonna try and get on here more often and pulling a couple of cards, well, just one card today on card of the day, and we had the Two of Swords. So yeah, like I was saying, swords relates to the air element, mental realm. Twos are about decisions, balance. Um, Duality, everything to do with duality with the twos. And so, on a surface level, a really easy way that I take the Two of Swords is as um, indecision, basically. You can see you've got these two swords, and it feels like she's kind of got her arms crossed in this awkward position. She's also like sitting out on this cold bench at night. So I always take this card as being kind of on the fence about something, undecided, needing to make a decision, needing to swing one of those swords, and being out on the cold bench in this awkward position like this. It kind of speaks to me of maybe this isn't the most comfortable position, maybe not a position you want to stay in for a long time. And so what you want is some decisiveness when you see the Two of Swords. And that is one of the things about swords. They relate to being rational, logical, and the sword itself is like cold. It's a precision instrument. It can cut through things. It can get straight to the point. And so there is the potential for decisiveness with the suit of swords, and the Two of Swords kind of calls for that. It might point to being on the fence about something, being in a bit of an awkward position, and like I said, probably not a position you want to stay in for a terribly long time. Now, there are some other symbols in this card. The blindfold, and then you've got this big pool of water and the crescent moon behind her. Now, the blindfold I take largely as um, like the eyes being covered and going within and listening to what you feel on an intuitive level, which is what those feminine symbols of the pool of water and the crescent moon represent. So, water in the tarot often shows up as feeling, intuition, um, tapping into what you feel on a really deep level. And so, with that, as well as the crescent moon, so the moon is a receptive symbol as well. So, you have the sun and the moon. So, I'm thinking of these in terms of like the subtle energy centers that I work with. We have the sun in the left side of the chest, or moon in the right side of the chest. And the sun, the solar energy is masculine, it gives off its own light, whereas the lunar energy is feminine, it's reflective. If you don't like the terms masculine and feminine, you can definitely go with active and receptive as well. But yeah, this sense of tuning into the receptive side, the lunar side, the side that just receives. So with that, the sense of tuning into the intuition, closing your eyes to maybe like the appearance of the situation or the outward world, and really tuning into what you feel to make a decision. So the Two of Swords, that's our card for the day. Basically, be able to recognize if there's anything that you're on the fence about, anything that a decision needs to be made about, and then really looking to maybe get off the fence and bring some decisiveness to the situation. And in order to do that, really tuning into what you feel, like what you feel on an intuitive level, listening to your gut feeling is the way to go. And maybe even with the blindfold, not paying too much attention to the outward appearances or analyzing it too much on a rational level. I mean, be decisive on the mental level, but trusting your gut as well. So, yeah, thank you guys for jumping on here. If any of you guys who are on here, it says there's 5 people on here. If any of you want me to pull a card on something, happy to do that. I'll wait a minute or two, see if anyone wants to chuck a question or if you just want a general card in the comments. And so Solomon Bautista said, hi Solomon, and there's a crown. Okay, so that says top fans here. As you can probably tell, I'm getting used to YouTube. This is my first time going live on here. Okay, so the card. Yeah, so if anyone's here and wants a card, let me know. Okay, I'm just gonna look through the deck here. Whenever you look through the deck, I think the cards that you look for, they often are right at the end. Okay, cool. So doesn't seem like anyone wants to jump in with a question. How about we just go to basic structure of a tarot deck, maybe like really quick. So basically a tarot deck, 78 cards, and 56 of those belong to the minor arcana. So that's the 4 suits of wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. And so each one of those suits relates to one of the elements. So wands relates to fire, and wands is an active element. So wands. So fire is very energetic. It's the most volatile of the elements. I like to think of it almost as the word energy. I know it gets used, gets denoted as action a lot, but I think of wands as energy and will, like where we put our energy, which can definitely translate into action. But it's kind of that initial spark that gets you moving on something. It's very wandsy energy. Um, it's just giving me an option to add a Q&A sticker. Oh, do I do I need to do that for people? Because you guys can comment, right? Okay. Okay, get rid of that. Yeah, so wands is the fire element and all about that kind of sense of energy. Um, I think it's interesting too that willpower is actually linked to things like energy. So, if you look at any studies on willpower and stuff, like just being able to do what you want to do essentially and have the will to do it. Willpower is highly correlated to things like blood sugar stability, sleep, and being well rested. Like these things will actually affect your will as well. So I often think of wands as energy. And when I see something like the Ten of Wands, um, I can often think of it as like energetic burnout. And then you have swords, which is the air element. And the air element relates to the mental realm. So our card today, Two of Swords, was um, of the sword suit, so relating to thoughts, ideas, especially left side of the brain, thinking left, because I think we now know that the functions of the brain aren't as localized as we once thought. But yeah, left side of the brain thinking in the traditional sense of logical, rational, not particularly open to like emotion as well. So when you get cards like maybe like the King of Swords or something, um, he definitely seems like a pretty cold and detached kind of card, very rational, logical. And swords can also relate to communication, and they can also relate to things like boundaries. So boundaries, limits, cutting things off. Um, After that, we have cups, and cups is the water element. And so these suits all relate to suits in the playing cards too. So spades would be swords. Um, Spades would be swords, wands would be clubs, hearts would be cups. But yeah, I like that connection because I think it's easy with cups to think of hearts because cups relates to the water element, which is largely the feeling realm, like the emotional realm. And so this is why a lot of the cups cards seem to deal with things like relationships. And perfect example here, Two of Cups. Everyone's favorite card probably for a love reading, relationships, but also things like just feeling on a general level, but also happiness, fulfillment. So, something like the Ten of Cups, very happy, fulfilled card. Even something like the Ace of Cups, it could definitely relate to new energy on a relationship level, relationships, love, but it could also relate to something like feelings of happiness and fulfillment. So, especially if something like that comes up on something like a career reading, it could be likely to relate to that more than a workplace romance. So, after cups, we have pentacles. And so, pentacles is the earth element. Um, I'm a Capricorn and I have a lot of Capricorn placements. So, I find the earth element something that really resonates with me. But I think the suit of pentacles can also be like quite broad. I think it gets simplified to being money a lot of the time. And we can see why. There's these gold coins there. But there is more to the suit of pentacles than just finances or career. Definitely can relate to those areas of our lives, but what pentacles is this the earth element. So the earth element is where all the other elements come together and kind of manifest in a solid, tangible reality. And so in that sense, pentacles relates to our connection to material reality, the real world, being able to manifest things. So for example, like a good way to think of pentacles is in terms of the pentagram. So the pentacle, which is the gold coin here, basically a circle with a pentagram inside. So the pentagram being the five-pointed star. And so these pentacles in this deck, the Rider-Waite Smith deck, it added that element of the pentagram. So before this, the older Italian decks, they just had coins, which I still think works, but I really like this connection with the pentagram. The planet Venus draws a pentagram in its orbit. So as Venus moves, it actually draws a pentagram. It's a little rounded, so sometimes it gets called like the flower of life. It's quite a nice design, but it is roughly a pentagram. And so there's connections then to the planet Venus, which rules both Taurus and Libra. And so Taurus is very much it's the fixed earth sign, right? So very much a connection to material reality, the body, pleasure, even. Um, and Libra is also connected to balance, harmony, things like art and beauty. And so that's a way that I think of Pentacles as well, as being connected to Venus and that sense of like pleasure and beauty that comes through with Venus as well. And you can also think of the pentagram as relating to the human being. You have the head and the four limbs, the two hands and the 2 feet as the extremities, and that can be the upright pentagram. And sometimes that's said to be the mind controlling the body, to act in the world, to manifest. And you can also take it as the spirit controlling, or the will controlling, the four elements, which is essentially probably a good um, parallel to the magician card, right? You basically have him with the four suit icons on his table. And so the magician is very much this sense of like will, initiation, independence, being able to make things happen, being able to act in the external world as well. And so I told you it's always like right near the end, the card that you're looking for. Where is the magician? So here he is, but yeah, basically the four suit icons there on his table. So this sense of him being in control and able to balance those elements and create, and kind of taking the pentagram as almost like a smaller version of that in a way. And the other place you see this show up is in the devil card. And in the devil card, you have the really Baal-like figure and that upside down pentagram on his forehead. And so with the inverted pentagram, it's this sense of things kind of being out of balance, being caught up in material reality too much. So, material reality isn't something that we want to bypass. It is real. It is, it matters. Like being able to translate things from the mental and feeling realms into reality is important. Like we don't want to just um, exist up in our heads, and things are solely ideas that can't be brought into reality. But at the same time, with the devil, that inverted pentagram, there's a sense of being too caught up in the material world, maybe. So the idea of the lower dominating the higher. So and the devil's connected to Saturn as well. So the sense of limitation. So if the body controls the mind, for example, that would be like an example of the physical controlling the mental, and not being able to exert one's will. So that's where something like addictions come into the devil card, because someone who's addicted to anything, even if we take something really simple like caffeine, um, at the end of the day, nothing wrong with like having a coffee, but if you're very addicted to caffeine, then on some level, um, you might not have much of a choice in if you drink your daily coffee. I mean, you might choose not to drink your daily coffee, but you might get caffeine withdrawals like from the body, and the body might actually say we need that caffeine. So the sense of the lower ruling over the higher, or the physical ruling over the spirit or the mental, comes in with that inverted pentagram. Hey, Jasmine Sewell. Hi. I'm just on here experimenting a bit with YouTube Live, and gonna try and get on here more. If you have a question or something, if you want me to pull a card, let me know. But if you have come across from my Instagram, that's no longer active, so I'm gonna try and use this YouTube channel more now. But yeah, I'll wait a minute or two and see if anyone that's on here has a question that they want me to pull a card on, or even just a general card. But yeah, that's the 4 elements. Oh, this YouTube keeps coming up with like add a Q&A sticker, but it pops up with an actual question like milk in ice question mark, and I thought someone was asking me like do I put milk in ice in milk? Ice in milk? I well, no one actually asked. It was just YouTube, but I would not put ice in milk. I feel like that's diluting your milk. Um, Unless it was milk ice cubes, maybe. But yeah, that's basically the 4 suits of the tarot and their elemental correspondences. And so, I was talking to someone just yesterday about learning the tarot, and it can be quite a big endeavor to learn the tarot. I don't think most people realize how much is involved in it. But I think the 4 suits can be a really good place to start because 56 of the 78 cards in the tarot deck belong to one of the 4 suits. And so straight away, if you pull one of those cards and it comes up as, let's say, 7 of Cups, at least if you know the 4 elements and the suits, so cups, water element, okay, we're looking at the realm of feelings, emotions, also relationships, fulfillment, something along those lines when we're looking at this card. And that can be a good starting place. And then you can look at, the number of the card, how that interacts with the element, the image on the card as well. So can be a really good place to get a bit of a broad understanding that carries through to a lot of the cards. All right, so yeah, if no one has any questions or no one wants me to pull a card, I'll jump off. And I believe I can um, post this up as a recording. So yeah, if anyone isn't watching this live as well, hello. And yeah, feel free to let anyone else know about this channel. I'm going to try and build my following here. And if any of you guys that are on here now, if you don't already subscribe, please subscribe. It'd really be good to build this channel. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off and start my day in Sydney, Australia over here. It is Friday morning and going to get stuck into it. So, oh, okay. Just as I was about to get off, um, okay, please pull a card for you. Okay, this is for, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, the Pello Prince. Let's pull a card for you. Okay, so some general guidance for Prince at the moment for whatever situations they've got in mind or where they're at right now. Okay, I don't know how you'll feel about this Tapello Prince, but I have the Hanged Man. So, can be a challenging card. I find it a challenging card because it is quite a passive card. I don't know if you're on here for the start of the live, but the card we had for the card of the day today was the 2 of Swords, and the 2 of Swords has a bit of a similar energy of being undecided, being at a bit of a crossroads. Both of these cards can have a bit of a sense of that, so that must be the energy that we're in today. The Hanged Man, though, the Hanged Man is a card of, like I said, being at a bit of a crossroads. There can be a bit of a lack of movement or stagnation with the Hanged Man as well. So you can see there's a lot of this crossing that goes on with the Hanged Man, and I mean like vertical and horizontal crossing. So literally being at a crossroads, you've got there the legs and the top of the tree as well. But the other thing, like you notice with the Hanged Man, is he seems to be in a pretty helpless position at the moment. So I kind of take that as things being somewhat out of one's control. Um, and it can be a time where maybe externally things aren't going to move very quickly. And so it is a card of things like surrender and pause. And that's why I can find it hard as a Capricorn. I find it hard to relinquish the need to control a situation to get a certain outcome in a situation, especially quickly. But with the Hanged Man, there is this sense of maybe external circumstances not really being that receptive to our ability to change them right now. So with the Hanged Man, there's that sense of surrender. It could be good to recognize if it is a time where certain conditions or situations can't be influenced, and the Hanged Man definitely has a sense of waiting as well. So maybe at the moment, something like biding your time, not really trying to resist situations, could be good. The other thing that I always think of with the Hanged Man is people do connect him to the legend of the runes as well. So with the runes, and it's escaping me right now the name of the Norse god, but like oh, the guy with the eye patch and the crows. I've gone blank on it, but yeah, there is a connection there to um, he was hanging from a tree for 3 days, and then the runes were revealed to him, something like that. But like this idea of like external lack of movement, but maybe there's a knowledge that can be revealed inside. And I've seen that myself with the Hanged Man, like at times when there were lockdowns and stuff happening, there that was really like a Hanged Man kind of situation where not much was happening externally. You're very limited, but in a lot of ways it can highlight what's going on internally as well. So for Topelo Prince, the Hanged Man, it is a card of, yeah, maybe recognizing if external circumstances aren't working right now, there might be a bit of a need for surrender, recognizing if there's limitation in the situation, if it's things that you can't really influence, then surrendering to that. There might be a sense of just needing to give things time. So, just waiting basically. I mean, his hands are tied and he's hanging by the foot, so can't do a whole lot. But there is a sense of like that waiting and letting things shift on their own and surrender to circumstances. And like I said, definitely can be this sense of internal realization when the external's not moving as well. So there might be room for internal growth, even if things can't move externally. And I think in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, that glowing halo that she's given him really indicates that there is some sense of enlightenment. And keep in mind, he is inverted. So that shift in perspective is what that inversion represents. So sometimes when the external stops moving, it allows us to get into a place where we're able to get a new perspective on things as well. So, Topelo Prince, I hope that kind of fits in and resonates for you in some way. And we do have someone else here, Chantel. Yeah, I'll pull a card for you. Let's pull a card for Chantel. Okay. So far today we've had the Two of Swords and the Hanged Man. So a lot of like a lot of sort of slow moving, stagnant, being on the fence energy. Let's see what we get for Chantel if she's in a different place. Okay, very different card, actually, very different energy. So we get the Six of Wands here. So this is a really nice card for Chantel. So Wands is the fire element, and with the Six of Wands, we see the fire element coming through nicely because there is this real sense of forward movement, action, energy, like progress. Like you've got this guy on the horse who seems to be being paraded like a champion. Looks like he's won some type of sporting event. Back in the day, before the tarot actually got to Europe, when they were in the Muslim world, the wands were actually polo sticks. And I think the Six of Wands is the card where I most see that energy coming through. It definitely feels like a kind of sporting kind of vibe to it. But the guy on the horse is being celebrated like he's the winner, like he's the champion. And so with the Six of Wands, you have this real sense of forward movement, momentum, and success. And especially being a six, there's a couple of other things that come in here, which are this idea of six is connected to the lovers. So duality and partnership and interaction with other people, relationship. And so all of the sixes have some type of interaction between people, like in the Six of Pentacles, someone's actually handing someone else money. In the Six of Swords, there's a sense of someone actually ferrying people away to a safer place. So there's interactions with other people in the sixes. In the Six of Wands, that actually comes through as just recognition. Like these other people seem to be celebrating or parading this guy. So with that, like I take it as a card of recognition of effort. So wands can be effort, energy, will, and with the Six of Wands, you're seeing success and recognition of that possibly as well. Sixes also have a sense of things coming into balance or moving again after the fives of the suit. They tend to be quite challenging. A lot of the fives have like some sense of stagnation or conflict or something. And then with the sixes, we see things kind of come back into balance and move forward again. And so with the Six of Wands, success, forward movement, maybe recognition of success if that's relevant to the situation as well. But a very good card. So, Chantel, that coming up for you. I don't know if you had a particular situation in mind, but if you did, I would say that this card is pointing to the potential for success, forward movement, and maybe even recognition of effort in that situation. Ah, you're an Aries. Okay, like so a fire sign. So you get well what wands represent then. So you should be quite good at pushing through until you get to the success. Okay, awesome. Let me know if that resonates for you, Chantel. But yeah, I'll give it a minute. I'll see what Chantel says to that. I'll see if anyone else wants me to pull a card. But yeah, if any of you guys haven't come across me before and you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to try and get on here regularly and pull cards, talk about tarot, teach about tarot. I really like teaching tarot. Um, so I'll do that. I've got a video on the history of tarot, which I'll try and upload at some point as well. I think the history of tarot is something that isn't well understood despite there being a lot of historical evidence. Oh, okay. You're welcome, Chantel. Thank you. Thank you for joining my first live. Yeah, okay. So I'll jump off here and go start my day here in Sydney. And yeah, I hope you guys hope to catch you again on live soon. I'm going to try and get on here pretty regularly and build a bit of an audience. Thank you, guys.